In breaking news, Governor Hobbs, the Democrat, press secretary, resigns after controversial tweet following Nashville mass shooting. That's Jocelyn Berry, who posted an image effectively threatening or calling for murder of people they deemed to be transphobic. This was shocking to a lot of people because it was posted after a trans person went to a Christian school and church and killed children. This is from azfamily.com. Governor Katie Hobbs' press secretary, Jocelyn Berry, has resigned hours after posting a controversial tweet that appeared to encourage gun violence, just hours after a mass shooting at an elementary school in Tennessee. The governor's office confirmed first to Arizona's family that Berry resigned overnight after growing pressure from those within her circle and other lawmakers. Berry posted the tweet, which featured a screen cap of the 1980s film Gloria, with a woman holding two guns with a caption reading, "Us when we see transphobes." Hours later, critics, primarily those from conservative branches of the Arizona legislature, called the tweet disturbing and highly inappropriate. By Tuesday night, the Arizona Freedom Caucus, a right-leaning group, called on Hobbs to fire Berry. Now, I'm pretty sure this, they say mere hours. The photo was posted March 27th, 2023, 9:30 p.m. We already knew exactly what had happened by 9:30 p.m. We did a show about it. So perhaps this woman is so ignorant as to the horrifying tragedy, she did not realize that calling for violence was particularly inappropriate. I mean, inappropriate no matter what, but bad timing. Or I think she was actively participating in what we saw from many of these activists, call for death and violence. In response, we are seeing what people, what is it, a DARVO? Deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing the media come out and say, because of this attack, trans people are scared. The real victims were the children. So I think it's a good thing this person resigned. I think this person should not have posted that in any capacity at any point for any reason. News of the tweet spread on social media feeds and popular blogs, including the New York Post, the Daily Mail, and other conservative outlets. Ultimately, Twitter removed the post with a notice saying that Berry had violated the platform's rules. Wow. Well, I don't think it is appropriate at any point to make a picture of you, to post a picture with a reaction of you pointing guns at people because you disagree with them politically. But that brings me to the greater conversation. In response to the breaking news, Dennis Welch of CBS tweeted, breaking, Governor Hobbs' office has confirmed that Press Secretary Joss Berry has resigned this morning after posting this image on Twitter. I quote tweeted it and said, wow. That's all I really had to say is, wow, I'm surprised the resignation happened this quickly. And Hassan Piker responded with, the right love cancel culture. They always have. Well, I don't know what he means by the right or who he's referring to, but sure, buddy, I'll tell you this. I am absolutely in favor of canceling, suspending, removing, firing people who violate certain moral foundations or whatever. Same as you probably do. Here's what cancel culture is. Cancel culture is when a race car driver loses a sponsor because 40 years ago, his dad said a racial slur on the radio. That happened. That's cancel culture. Cancel culture is going back 10 years to Sarah Silverman's blackface joke and firing her from a movie. Bro, that was 10 years ago. She's not doing that today. People can change. Cancel culture is not when a few hours after a trans person murders children, you post a threat of violence or some kind of support for it and then get fired. Yeah, that's not cancel culture. So here's my question, I guess, to Hassan. Do you not know what cancel culture is? Have you not had an actual conversation or discussion over what people are really concerned about with censorship? Because I'll tell you this, I love censorship. I am so in favor of censorship. Y'all have no idea. I think we need more censors. I think Twitter, Facebook, all these platforms need censors. I'm not kidding. Because there are bad people who post threats of violence, and there are people who post, pictures of kids, if you know what I mean. And that stuff should be removed and censored. Illegal activity should be censored. Far left extremists calling for violence should be censored. Far right extremists calling for violence should also be censored. Those are crimes, not self-expression. Now, that being said, I am being a bit hyperbolic. Overall, the censorship we are concerned about has more to do with political censorship to shut down ideas like Ben Shapiro getting shadow banned or something like that, or Ronna McDaniel being shadow banned on Twitter. Not that I'm a big fan of the RNC. I think they've been great failures, but we've seen this in the past. What we get from the likes of Hassan is either intentional manipulation or ignorance. Maybe Hassan doesn't understand what the actual arguments are, and thus he says the right love cancel culture always have. Well, sure. There are many people on the right who want to see people banned for bad morals. My view is simply this. If you post something right now and get suspended or banned for it, and it's kind of egregious, that's not cancel culture. It is not cancel culture if a person goes on Twitter and starts making threats of violence. It is cancel culture if you dig up someone's old posts and then demand they be fired because of those posts. Which brings me to our good friends, the Young Turks. Because Hassan, I believe, is, the nephew of Cenk Uygur? Cenk Uygur has a bunch of really old, horrifying posts from the Young Turks. They used to say a whole bunch of awful things. Jimmy Dore said they used to do, upskirting shots or something like that? I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's not true. I don't think the Young Turks should be canceled today because of things they did 10 years ago. I certainly think we can highlight the things they did 10 years ago to criticize their stances today and ask them to answer for it. And if the answer is simply, we did dumb things, we regret them, my response is accepted. Absolutely accepted. Just because someone said something 10 years ago doesn't mean it represents who they are today, because people changed. And you have to give people the path to walk down. If there are two paths, the light and the dark, and you say you did a bad thing so you will never be welcomed on the path of righteousness, well, then of course they're going to be like, guess I'll go to the dark side, because they have no option. So we have to tell people, if you do a bad thing, we will give you the opportunity to move forward. But this is in my view, lies and the problem that persists with leftist commentators. Hassan is the largest left-wing social commentator. 1.3 million followers on Twitter. He gets tens of thousands of followers on his live streams. And I think, simply put, Hassan does not know what he's talking about. I think that's it. Now, to be fair, I don't know what the point he's making when he says the right love cancel culture. If he's referring to Katie Hobbs' press secretary, Jocelyn Berry, being fired or resigning because she actively called for violence, I'm like, I don't see that as cancel culture. Like, this is bordering on criminal. Okay, fine. I don't think it actually rises to the level of criminality because there's no clear and imminent threat. But at 9:30, we knew exactly what had happened at this school and church. So to post this picture of a woman holding guns, us when we see transphobes, it's like, what is the implication in any context? Outside of what happened in Nashville, what's the message trying to be conveyed? Yeah, that they will pull guns on you and shoot you and kill you if you disagree with them politically. I don't see it as an issue if she is forced to resign because she is a press secretary who represents a prominent Democrat, the now governor of Arizona. So yeah, I got no problem with that. If she came out with a picture of her saying racist things, I also would not care if she was fired. Look, I've said this a lot, and this is the problem with the left because they don't watch my show and they don't watch my videos. If you run a company and your employee threatens your company, I'm not surprised if they get fired. If I have an employee who goes on a racist tirade, I might fire them too. I say might because it depends on the circumstances. If someone goes out and just starts posting vile garbage on Twitter, I'm probably going to say, I don't think you should work here. 1, what you're doing is bad for us. 2, I think you're a bad person. 3, all you're doing is making the problem worse across the board. So I say that within reason because what the left determines to be a racist tirade is not the same thing as what many of us would. The left, of course, would argue that white privilege and white supremacy are prejudice, power, blah, 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 and other garbage nonsense. I wouldn't. So you could have someone come out and be like, the history of Christopher Columbus is this, and I think that what happened with the Aztec Empire, they were brutal murderers, and they'll be like, that was a racist rant, and I'll be like, shut up. But like if someone literally came out and just started posting racial slurs, I'd probably be like, get out. I don't think that's cancel culture. I think that's, we have a mission. We're trying to accomplish something, and there are things that we don't tolerate and we don't like. We want to be reasonable, rational people. We want people to learn the truth and push back against garbage and nonsense, lies and manipulations. We want violence to de-escalate. So if someone was here and they weren't adhering to those standards, I'd fire them. Not to mention, if someone here also did this, I'd be like, yo, that's over the line, man. Now, granted, I think we're a little bit more lenient. Like if someone worked here and posted a reaction meme that was over the line, I'd probably just put out something and being like, yeah, that wasn't cool. I'm going to ask them not to do it again. We've had circumstances where that's happened. I'm just like, I won't tell anybody to remove it unless it's like outright a call for violence. I mean, that's criminal anyway. We've had things where I'm like, hey, consider what you're posting because that's a bit over the top, ain't it? And that's about it. We don't have a social media policy here. So for the most part, we let people speak their minds. Granted, we don't hire people who are like that anyway. So I think to put it simply, I don't see it as completely unreasonable for a company to say you don't align with our values. The issue that conservatives need to realize is that you are not playing a game where these corporations care about your values. Twitter is clearly leftist. Well, Elon Musk bought it, but was clearly leftist. So, of course, they're going to adhere to their own policies. These big corporations will fire people who violate their company ethos because they're woke. That's why we need a parallel economy. So that we can have companies where we say, okay, I'll fire you for you being racist, too. If you call for critical race theory segregation, I see that as a violation of the law. You're out. So, as I wrap up this segment for the day, I'll only say this. Go to castbrew.com and purchase Cast Brew coffee. We are building that parallel economy, and I recommend Appalachian Nights, our robust signature dark roast blend, or Rise with Roberto Jr. Yes. Now, that one's my favorite. It's a light roast. I'm not normally a light roast guy, but it's brand. It was my idea to brand it Rise with Roberto Jr., but I'm just a big fan of Roberto Jr. He's our rooster, by the way. So that's my favorite. Anyway, look, we're building the parallel economy. We are going to build companies where our values are protected. I don't blame someone for upholding their values. I just think they're wrong. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.